All right. So I'm going to clear the screen too, so you guys. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and clear that screen and put you in focus mode for a bit. You're welcome to chat if you want. Just know that it will not necessarily be as prevalent during this next video. I love having a studio audience. Thank you for guys for hanging with me in the studio audience where I talk about these things. It's the best way to make videos of all, because then I have support and hecklers. I need hecklers. You need hecklers. Everybody needs hecklers. Keep you honest. All right. So, applause. So here's another video. Welcome to RWX. Rob, RWX.gg, whatever. Yay, lights with the sound and clapping and studio audience. They're well trained at this point. So I do have a little bit of a studio audience. I work better with an audience because they can ask questions and heckle me and do all kinds of great stuff. Playing REM Losing My Religion. That's a different one. Hey, brah. So a lot of good fun people here. And what am I going to do today? So today somebody asked me how I do searching. And I've talked about this before, but I've never talked about it in as organized a way. So I'm actually going to go through the whole process for command line searching and browsing. So let's start out by doing it. So I type a question mark and I go, what is Lynx? Or what is, I don't know, text based browsing? What the heck is that about? Well, let's go read the internet, see what it says. The 12 best text-only browsers for browsing in slow internet access. Well, that's one reason to do it, but not necessarily the only reason. As you can see, I'm navigating using a browser called Lynx, which is the oldest web browser in history. It's still actively maintained, and I maintain that it is the best browser in the world. People think that's really funny to say, but then they watch me browse and they're like, how are you doing that? And all of a sudden it's not so funny anymore. They actually want to know how, and they ask me to make a video on it. So I'm going to make a video. That's what this is. So this is just one example. I can like scroll through really fast. I'm doing all this browsing and everything from one hand. The font is guaranteed to be the same size every time. There's very minimal things that are getting in the way. There's no images for my eyes to gloss over. And if you know anything about cognitive overhead when you are consuming data, particularly scanned data, then you will appreciate the idea that I don't have to adjust my focus, adjust how my processing is happening in my brain when I read it. It's just yet another thing on my terminal that I'm browsing through. Could be a man page. In fact, I can find content that's more valuable because it has examples in it using links and text-based searching than I can with a man page. And that's old school people who know about man pages are like, let's see, can you please set to the caller? So yeah, if you're having trouble reading it, I'll set my opacity back. But that's a good point. You know, I can do that though. I can set my opacity to 8 for the rest of this thing. So I don't actually, let me go all the way up to 999 so you guys can read. Just because we had a request from the peanut gallery. JS is the best browser. You know what I have to say to that. Okay, so let's go back here. What is text-based browsing? And now you have a really solid. So I can zoom in and I can see the text. As I said, it's faster than man pages 90% of the time. And a lot of the hits are Stack Exchange. And I usually have to go to the actual good answer, which is usually the 5th answer down. But, you know, you get examples versus the man page. So if I look at the man page on Pandoc, for example, you know, I got a lot of stuff here and I have to know how to search it. The great thing is that it uses all the same hand strokes. So all I'm doing is I'm just hitting tab with my thumb and I'm searching really quickly and I'm using slash to search, and all of those keystrokes are the same. Because why? Because this is using VI mode, this is using search mode, my history is using VI mode, and my links is set up to use search, you know, navigation and stuff as same in VI mode. So VI, all the things, that's a separate video. But once you have that down, then your terminal becomes one consistent, you know, continuation of just like cognitive interaction, and that is what makes text-based browsing so powerful. I can find things, whether they're man pages or they're just examples, I can find them really fast. So let's go search for links. Let's see what we find here. We'll go search for links. So here we go, Wikipedia, that comes up. Thank God Wikipedia reads pretty well. Wikipedia does have some formatting issues, though, I won't lie. And then you can come down here. privacy, history. See, this is the thing I hate about Wikipedia. Wikipedia has a really horrible use of different font styles and highlighting, which make it almost impossible to consistently show, unlike other things like Stack Exchange. You can set that up, and I'm going to show you how to do that today, how to change the colors so you can tweak your colors and get them just the way you want. You can steal my color configurations. If you're in the studio audience, I will give you my configuration today. But in addition to that, you can go in there and make it look how good the way you want. I did find out actually for example, yesterday that somebody who had one of my old solarized terminal settings, the default Lynx configuration didn't work for them because it made it all white and ugly. But I'll show you how to customize it yourself and make those changes. And this is not particularly easy with Lynx because it was made to be like the one browser to rule them all on systems that were single user systems or multi-user systems, and everybody just had to use the Lynx that was on there, and they didn't get to customize their own Lynx. We're talking about 80s. Right, that's when this thing was made, and it is really actively maintained. It's got full emoji support. All of that stuff was added. There's actually a Lynx mailing list, which I'm subscribed to. And so anyway, so that's what we'll be using today. But let me show you the pieces that you need, and I'm going to write this up here in a markdown file. So first of all, let's say this. So you need to get Lynx. So actually, I'm just going to put it that way. And I'm going to do that. I'm just going to say you need to install Lynx. Okay, and there's lots of ways to do that. If you're on a Debian, I don't have to tell you how to install Lynx. You can figure that out. It's usually a sudo apt-get or pacman or whatever. It's one of the common packages that's been all along, although it will not be there by default. You don't need to customize it or get a specific one like I do with Tmux to get rid of the borders. You can go ahead and just install Lynx. So that's the first step. Once you have Lynx installed, though, there's a few customizations you'll want to do. And this is where you can get really into the weeds. And I'm just going to tell you, this is a place where it actually... I did not create Lynx. No, Lynx is a web text-based browser that was built way back when and is fantastic. And people, if you want to get into a conversation about why is it better than Links or eLinks or W3C or all of these things, W3m, I think, I can talk about that later, but let's not get into the weeds on that right now. Let's just talk about how to install Lynx and how to set up your search engine from the terminal. Okay, so the first thing to do is to install Lynx. You have to have Lynx, which means you have to have a terminal. I mean, honestly, you probably have to have Linux. I mean, let's just be real. Install Linux, okay? Install, right? You got to have Linux, and then you need to fire up a terminal. And I'm going to suggest that be a bash terminal, but you do what you want if you're, a less than terminal user, shell user. That includes that piece of crap called Z shell, which I hate for reasons I'll explain in a different video. I hate Z shell. It's actually bad for the world, and I'll talk about that. Stay tuned for another rant from Mr. Rob about bash. The whole rant can be summarized in one word, in one sentence. Bash is a default shell on all Linux systems. The end. Twitch mark rant. All right, so here we go. We're going to go through, we're not going to talk about how to get Linux or any of that right now, but that's all in different videos. So right now we're just talking about setting up searching, command line web searching with Lynx. So install Lynx. Next thing you need to do is you need to configure, Lynx, and this has got a number of steps to it. So I'm going to talk about that. All right, so then the first thing you need to do is you need to create or copy a links.cfg file. And there's one that you usually have to find one. There is one that comes with Lynx when it gets installed. And the way I made mine is I actually copied that one, read the man page all about it, and then I customized it. And I found out through that process that you can actually have your own, but you have to go through some hoops to make it get picked up. It's not like you could just put it in, .links config or .local config if you know Linux, and just have it picked up. You actually have to do a little bit of tweaking on it. And I'm going to talk about that tweaking right now. I'm using VI, of course. So create a copy of links.cfg. Okay, so also so open. So I'm going to put a note for here, open or change into your .files directory. You know what that means, right? repo. So if you don't have a .files repo, there's another video on that, why you should have it. We're not going to talk about the comparisons, as I said. We'll do comparisons at the end. So we're going to create a copy of Lynx.configuration file, and then we need to create or copy a Lynx.lss file. And then what? Then we need to create a Lynx wrapper script. Script that calls the actual Lynx with pointing, and there's other ways to do this, but this is the way I do it, pointing to the Lynx.cfg and the Lynx.lss files. Okay, now this part you have to be careful here. I'm going to put a little warning here. I'm going to put pause, which is just Achtung, means be careful. It is easy to create a circular reference when creating the Lynx wrapper. Just be careful. Okay, and we'll talk about what that means, but I'm just kind of giving you the overview here. And then after you get the Lynx wrap, then you just need to symlink everything. So then you need to say update. It's like you have to like I guess the safest way to say this is tell your shell about Lynx, about the Lynx wrapper, and where to find it. And there's lots of ways to do this. The way that I do it is I just add an extra entry to my path. So the easiest way might be to just add an extra entry to your path. Okay. So that's what we're gonna do. So yeah. Actually, you create the wrapper script that's pointing to the ls things and the ls.lss. The easiest way might be to just add an extra entry path to your path. So I'm just cutting to the chase here. If you want to just copy, we could go ahead and do that. So the easiest way might be to add just an extra entry point to the easiest way to get links in general might just be to copy my repo and put it all in there. And I do not have a thing for this yet. But you can actually go to my RWX Rob site and then go to /.files. This is my .files directory. And I'm not going to lie, it's a little complicated in there because I actually build my different Lynx bash configurations and stuff because I have different configurations for different operating systems like Arch or something. So it's a little more complicated than I would like it to be. It's constantly a work in progress. I probably should never take down that label. But everybody says two things, like working on .files or streaming. That's pretty much me on Twitch. I love working on .files, constantly configuring things. It's one of the greatest advantages of Linux, and it's never boring. So anyway, but if you wanted to go find what I'm looking for here and actually see what I have, you can go to gitlab.com/rwxrob/.files. And setting up your own .files repo and why you should do that is a separate video, maybe the next video that I make. But anyway, so you go into common and you'll see here I have a Lynx directory, and here's everything. Lynx browser for the win. I actually wrote a setup script that will do all of this. So if you're lazy, you can just copy this directory to your own .files and tweak your setup script the way you want so that it does it in the way that you want. I'm going to be looking at all these files from the terminal now rather than from this stupid web interface that takes 3 seconds to update. Far too long for my tastes. And here we go. So I just use Google. No, you can use Google. You big Russian troll. Love you, Clemento. All right, so here we go. I know you. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna find that. So I'm gonna open a new panel here, a new window in Tmux. That's what this is all about, by the way. Separate video on that. And we're gonna go into my .files, and if you notice, it's gonna cd right into my .files. It should anyway. Because I'm using a CD path, which I'll cover in another video, and that's what allows me to do crazy things like, oh, I don't know, CD between my dot files and my README, which are in two completely different places. People who cite Z-Shell CD functionality have no idea how to use CD path and probably don't know it exists. Rant for another day. All right, dot files, here we go. And so we're going to go over here, I'm going to go into common, and then I'm going to go back in. This is just a repo I just barely showed you. I'm just going to show you from the terminal. Big old long path here on purpose so you can see where it is at all times. Actually, yes, the tmux. I have a tmux video, but I need to do another one. There's no doubt. All right, so here is all the stuff. So just as the setup script actually, you probably don't know Bash, but the setup script actually kind of summarizes everything that we're doing here. Beyond the little this stuff here. If you want to learn how to do that, we can use cpick. Cpick, now you got me seeing Z-Shell. I said it's Zpick. It's not, it's cpick. A tool to do the colors. If you want to learn that, that's in another video. Z-Shell rant coming soon. Do I need to do the Z-Shell rant? It sounds like I need to justify my ranting. If-Z which Linux. So this is cool. This tells you, this checks to see if there's Linux. The -Z says, is this empty? So you have to have quotes. Trying it without quotes will result in a massive failure, so don't do that. You have to put quotes around it. But if that string is empty, that means there's no links, and it's a really great way to test whether a binary of something in your path exists. I'm not going to explain what a path is and all that right now. You should just know that the path is the thing that your system uses to find executables. So here's my path right now. It shows me all the places that it will go to look for that. More drama, more viewers. So I don't care. So I just want the right information to be out there. So this is my path. You're like, why is this path printing so prettily? Because if you're a user, you probably know that this is usually what your path looks like. You know how to fix that? Super easy. So here's a little freebie. That's it. God bless Bash. Can't do that in Z-Shell. Go home. Actually, I think you might be able to. I think it does have some of the Z-Shell. Does have some of the Bash expansions. Anybody know what this is doing, by the way? This was not included as a part of the video, so I'll just give you a bonus if you'll not fix me. You can keep using it all you want and remain unemployable. So, okay, that was a low blow. I'm sorry. I don't mean it personally. That's just a joke. I'm just making a joke. Echo-E. So what's going on here, guys? So you broke one of my scripts and I have to I'm just saying. I love the Z-Shell users. I hate Z-Shell. Let's be clear here. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. So this is a fun side note. Okay, so anybody know what this does? Somebody tell me what this path expansion does. All right, so the studio audience, I'll give you some bonus. I wish I could give you bits, whatever that is. That'd be cool. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about Manjaro at all. So path. So this says here, there's two things here. It says replace, and because there's two of them instead of one. That says replace every occurrence of a colon with what? With a line return. And you have to backslash the backslash because otherwise it's just an escape. So this is one of the great things about the path expansion is that this does a very complicated find and replace on a variable without any setting or any of that other crap. All right. So this is one of the power. This is one of the powers of, I love regex. You guys can hate regex all you want. Regex is one of the most powerful things that ever existed, but it's abused. There's no doubt. So anyway, turn out the dopamine receptor is like a Christmas tree. So here we go. There we go. Regex is unlearnable. I disagree very strongly with that. So anyway, so that's all it's doing. In fact, I can do it right here. I can say, okay, replace my path. Anyway, so that was not the point of this video, but it's a bonus. So you can see that this is what the path is that it looks in your path to decide where it's going to run a thing. And why does that matter? Because we're trying to get it to run links, not the links that's on the system. So if I do which links now, you'll see that it's my links in the system, right? And that's fine. That's what I want. I want that one to take over. But if we write it in the setup script, you'll see there's a little secret here. When the setup script runs, it doesn't assume there's any links on the system. So let's do something funny here. If I actually move this Lynx name here into like LYNKS or something, which isn't a thing, I do which Lynx, and it'll like, oh, okay, well there it is. Why? Because I renamed it. And so there you go. User bin Lynx is where it's going to find it now. And that's how you would come into this if you're running the setup script. So the setup script says, where is Lynx on this system? Because I need it. And if it doesn't find it, it says fail. You need to install it. All right. And so I already talked about that step. We did that. And then down here is how we're going to come back to this stuff later. But this is how you can configure it if you want to. It's one of the many ways you can set up your configuration. Mine's a little bit more convoluted than you even need. And we're going to go through all that. So the next step after installing Lynx is to set up the configuration files, right? So let me, I'm going to leave that name that way until we are ready to talk about it. So right now we're going to open up lynx.cfg, and again, you know where to get it on my GitLab, so you don't need to fret. This is an exact copy of where it normally lives. User local lib Lynx. If you want to get your own raw one, you can go get your own raw one. I haven't changed anything in here. It's got a really ancient configuration file format, and I won't lie, I would really love to see Lynx rewritten in Rust with a simpler configuration file format that uses, TOML or even YAML, but something like that. I'm not a particular fan of this configuration format, but I understand why it exists. And in fact, I think it's a riff off Troff from Roth at one point, which is like really boomer tech, like from the 70s. This is why this file you probably just want to copy. Now I changed my start file to go to SkillStack by default. I'm going to change that right now to rwx.gg. There you go. So that's this default start file, and you can set it to be your local host or whatever. There's all this extra stuff. The default index file, I set to mine to DuckDuckGo Lite. Jump prompt, most of this stuff you don't need. There is some stuff that you really want to watch out for and activate, and I'll give you this file in a second, but I want you to see this. Where is it? So again, lots of extra crap you don't need. So let's go to this. Okay, here we go. CJK raw mode. All of this stuff is default. Okay, here's some stuff. Let's see, the value should be the MIME type, so that one's fine. We'll leave that. Character set is the same. This is new, by the way, the ISO 8859. They will, I mean, it's not new, but yeah, I tell cookies not. You can tell the Lynx not to do cookies. That is like one of the biggest annoyances. Do the locale character set. I turned that on. What else? I'm trying to go through this fast. I don't want this video to be forever. So here we go. I'm trying to find anything else that's really relevant. There's not really a lot, actually. Tools, RFCs. I mean, it's like got so much extra stuff in it, and it is more than is needed. To tell you the truth, this was the first web browser ever, so it's no surprise. And it's not just designed for. You can actually read email with it and all kinds of stuff. I would never do that, but you can do other things with it. But it still has the best text interface, and that's why I stick by it. And have for so many years, even when I gave up for like a full year just to use graphic browsers, and I came back and I was like, what was I thinking? You can turn pause off. This is important. It can slow down your browsing, because the real reason for using this is so that it's like wicked fast. I've even thought about turning off domain lookups, which you can do, but then you'd just be in trouble, right? Because you go to things that have domains and you'd be done. Show cursor, I put that as true so it could show where I'm flying around the screen. You can set up all the different bolds and stuff. There's a couple ones. The one that sets VI mode is really essential, and that's why I opened the thing up in the first place. If you don't activate, it has Emacs mode and VI mode, but at least if you know me, I VI all the things. You can Emacs all the things if you want to. The problem is that this is why I'm going to summarize why I don't think Emacs is a solid choice for most people. Is because if you are a pen tester or a system administrator, VI is going to be on everything. One set that show VI and you are in VI mode for your history editing. And if you do the Emacs, you have to install Emacs on everything. I'm not against Emacs. I just don't think most people should learn it particularly first. So specifically, but there's generally two kinds of bindings, ways of using your keyboard in all of the things, whether they're the actual editor or the shell or some browser or something. Even VS Code, you can actually get Emacs, mode or VI mode. And after you've been using VI as much as I have, you want to VI all the things. And so the number one reason that I have this is to do VI all the things, and I can probably search for that. I probably search for mode and find it. Nope. Oh, default editor, all that stuff. Anyway, I'll let you look through it. If you disagree with some of the choices I made in it, I'll let you do that. VI is way easier to learn than Emacs. Yeah, and we'll talk about VI in a separate video. VI survive. There's only 4 commands in VI that you need to learn. Period. Anybody who tells you VI is harder than Nano is selling you something. So anyway, here we go. And we're going to go ahead and close that down. I've taken way too much time already. Oh, yes. Well, WSL2 is awesome. That's a great start. So Lynx.config. Here, I'm going to give this to you guys. You can go take your own and put it into your own .files directories if you'd rather not copy it. You can go eeks it down. There is a link, VI or Vim in VI mode, and we'll talk about that in another video. All right, so the next one, let's see, Lynx. VI changed my life and saved me from a life of. I kind of agree. So anyway, this is an important file. You're going to find yourself in this file a lot. I actually find it really amazing that this format for this Lynx.lss file is so old that VI and Vim by default have syntax highlighting that shows you the color. Isn't that cool? It's like really, really cool that it shows you all the colors. And I just love that you can go tweak it. So, for example, you saw me on Wikipedia earlier, and there's obviously one of these that I need to tweak a little bit. I've tweaked my colors such that I like them. There's no such things as themes in this, and it's probably a bad idea to have that. You'd have to have a separate file for that kind of thing. You might want to maintain a couple different files at Lynx.lss. But it's important you do this, because if you don't, especially with modern color terminals, you'll get some quirks that'll not work for you, and they're kind of annoying. And I've actually set this up for my, I don't know if you guys noticed, but my terminal is very, very traditional Xterm colors, and that's by default. That's specifically because I'm streaming and I want a high contrast terminal for people who may be colorblind who are watching the stream. I don't want to force you to try to distinguish between solarized base grayscale levels, which is not a thing. So because I am a streamer, I think it's really imperative that and a YouTuber, I think it's really imperative that I have very, very high contrast and readable terminals for everyone, not just people who agree with my color tastes. So that's why I do that. It's a little bit of a rant on that, because I see this, I see people like, oh, screw it. If you don't like what I'm doing, fine. I think people need to think about the people that are going to be watching their presentations more, and they need to think about those people who have visual handicaps. I have a stepson who is color impaired, and and so it's important that we keep track of these things for all the people in the world. All right, and next, so that's Lynx.lss, that defines the colors. And so here we go. NeoVim. We're not going to talk about NeoVim. If you want to find more about NeoVim, go to rdbx.gg/stupid/nvim, and you can read all about the stupidest editor ever made in the last decade. And I have very objective backing for that statement. I'll do a full roast another day. If you're using NeoVim, it's best you not tell me about it, because I will judge you. I just will. I will totally judge you. If you don't know why NeoVim is a disastrously bad piece of code and a project that should never have existed, you really need to research it some more. All right. I mean, yeah, it's probably awesome that you have you can write plugins in Node.js. That's so awesome. I'm sorry. I went to have an objective look at NeoVim. I went to look through it to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, and I ended up laughing my ass off at the project and all of the design decisions. I mean, I was rolling in tears. I was having so much fun with how bad it is. It is so bad. It's as if somebody decided to make an editor based on VI who never learned the Unix philosophy ever, and basically made every decision directly against the Unix philosophy because of their massive Emacs envy. It's so hilariously bad. Oh my god, it's so bad. But we're talking about Lynx right now. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and I wasn't quite stupid when they forked Vim. Well, I don't know. The main goal is to add support for background tests, which is stupid. It's totally stupid. They forced Vim to add it also. Yeah. Look, the people who are taking Vim down the path away from VI are completely against going on the Unix philosophy, and 90% of the people have no idea how to use shell integration. And the whole idea of backgrounding stuff using shell integration, look, I'm on a rant that I don't want to be right now. So let's come back to Lynx. Stay tuned for my anti-NeoVim rant. I'll do that another day. And you guys can roast me back. I don't care. I think NeoVim is a disaster. And I think it's so bad because it takes all of the bad things about Vim and doubles down on them. And I'm going to talk about that another day. I'm not the only one who thinks this, by the way. Okay, so anyway, absolutely understand it. I absolutely understand that there should be no background processes in your VI code. Yeah, so yeah, that's because you don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, if you're accusing me of not understanding background processes in Vim, then we have a big conversation and debate to have. All right, so yeah, because there should definitely be background processing, but not in VI or Vim. That is not where it belongs. Yeah, no, we're gonna have it now. We're not gonna have that right now. No, if you can say that all you want, but that's just because, yeah, if you're talking about off-screen rendering, that's a different thing, and that VI already has that. So we're not gonna talk about that. And by the way, if that was the only thing, I might be willing to give on that completely. But we both know that's not the only thing, right? We both know that the governance on the NeoVim project is so disastrously bad that everything in the kitchen sink has been thrown into it at this point, and that there's no semblance of any organization. And they're all trying to do it to make it better because it's basically a bunch of crybabies who didn't get their changes into the core Vim, and now they're saying, well, we're going to fork it and do our own thing, and we're going to put Node in ours. Oh god, I cannot stop laughing about that. Oh, I mean, they actually removed things. NeoVim removed support for the View plugin, VI, so that you can use VI and read-only mode. I mean, that's the level of stupidity and their design decision-making process. All right, sorry. I'm done. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to Lynx. All right, so Lynx, you guys know I love you, right? Even though I hate NeoVim, I love you. All right, so this is a Lynx video. I know, this is a NeoVim. It's a NeoVim based on jQuery. All right, so here we go. So we have our stuff. I'm gonna have to chop all of that out. Just so you know, I'm gonna chop all that out. I refuse to have a NeoVim fight in a Lynx thing. So just know, gentle viewers, that you will not have to put up with the NeoVim rants right there. I'm gonna cut all that out. Twitch mark NeoVim. Twitch mark end of NeoVim. All right, so let's finish. Let's get this show on the road. How do we actually run this thing? Well, you have to kind of run, and I changed the name of this. I'm going to change it back. It needs to be named the same for this to work. So what you want to do here, first of all, I'm going to unset. Well, no, I think I'll just keep this the way it is. So you have to write this wrapper, and you don't have to write the wrapper as fancy as I've done, but let me explain why the wrapper is this way. Okay, so you have, by the way, this has been using Dash, I believe in progressive enhancement. That means I don't use Bash unless I need it. Because why? It's actually faster if you run it under Dash, which surprised me actually, because there are some subshells going on here and stuff. So all this does is I actually have hard-coded the path to Lynx. And some people might disagree with that decision, but I think that's safe. And especially when you're writing a wrapper code. If you're writing a wrapper code, then you might have somebody be able to put stuff in there. And people who don't understand why you would use full paths to things, and why you should never, ever use user bin env. I don't care how convenient it makes your script to share with other people. We have another conversation to have. Sometimes full paths are the reason to use it. And if you don't understand why, go do Hack the Box or any number of pen testing things where people take significant advantage of people who don't understand how the path works and how important it is to put a full path sometimes to a thing. Not always, but sometimes it's important that you don't trust your path. And this is one of those cases for me. So I went ahead and put a full path to Lynx here. Obviously, I could not put Lynx in there because if I did, it would be a recursive loop and it would find the Lynx. Another thing to do here would be you could write it. You could make, instead of writing your script and calling it Lynx, you could call it, you know, like ly or whatever you want, instead of calling it Lynx, and then you wouldn't have any mental, you know, conflict with the other one, or, you know, in the path directory. There's lots of approaches here. And this isn't a shell scripting video, so I'm just assuming you've got at least some semblance, some niceness about how to do that. Okay, so here we go. So if-e home config Lynx config, and this was my choice. I decided to use the standard locations for our configuration files, and rather than try to set this every time to wherever I am now. And so that way I allowed my setup script to actually create symbolic links to this other location. I realize the way that I did this is not something a novice might be willing and ready to do yet. And if it's not, then you might just be able to make an alias and have it, when you run Lynx, have it actually set the environment variables properly that point to your configuration files. And if you don't know what that looks like, I could maybe try to show you that real quick. But if you know what, go watch the video about aliases, and I will do that in the aliases video, which talks about how you can set environment variables in your aliases so that they only apply to that script or that command that's running at that time. So that's what's going on here. But in this specific case, the base, XDG base directory specification, which you can also do, but I know for a fact that the XDG is home. So I mean, I could probably change that to be XDG instead, so that on Windows it works. But in every case, there's no case where you would be on a Windows system that is not, you know, it doesn't have a $home environment variable. So that's the way I chose to do it. There's lots of ways to do this. And so this one on here, this points to the thing. So the moral of the story here is that the way to execute is to set the environment variables so they are pointing to the configuration files and then executing the program. That's what's happening down here. And the reason it's not just Lynx path, it's an exec, is because when you exec, that replaces the currently running program with the new program and recovers the memory and everything, rather than making another subshell. Subshells are not covered here. Subshell is when you run a program. Normally that program is running, becomes a process that's running underneath the current process, and it's called a child process. In this case, with the exec, I'm saying no. I just replace the currently running Lynx with the actual Lynx, and pass in the arguments that are passed to the command. And when this runs, these environment variables are set. So this is kind of a long-winded way of doing something that could be done with an alias, but I just go ahead and make it into a script. Okay, so if you aren't comfortable with everything I said there, you're welcome to ask questions in the Discord, and we can help you set it up. If you just want it to work, then you can just copy this entire Lynx directory, put it in your own .files, and run the setup script, and you're done. Okay, all of that stuff will happen and will be set up for you. And so let's talk about the next steps after you have the script. So the next steps are in the setup script. You can do this in the setup script or otherwise. Is I make a configuration directory if it doesn't already exist. This makes a directory, and if it exists, it just ignores the error. And this is removing any Lynx configuration directory that may have already been there, so that I don't get that error. You want to be careful with rm-rf, of course. You never ever want to do that with a variable that doesn't have an explicit path. The tilde means home, by the way, in case you're not familiar with that. We do a symbolic link that is just a regular symbolic link that points to this current directory. So this becomes a directory pointing to this configuration, in my .files, and that symbolically links it to Lynx config, which means that everything is, relatively located there as well. We do an ls-l. This is just to show you that the setup worked. And then down here, I just echo a reminder that you need to add this path to your path. This is not something that can be automated, nor should be. I cannot tell you how many things I've run into over the years that have broken people's paths on systems because the install script messed with the path. That's something that you should manage yourself, because it's usually something that's going into your private path, and you never ever want to trust code that messes with your path. That's like downloading and running something from the internet without knowing where it's from. It's really bad practice. So just, if this is just a prompt to tell you, please go add this to your path wherever that is, and it recommends to you where that might be. So at the end of the day, after you run something like that, or you go through those steps, and you can stop the video and slow it down or whatever, go like try pathological. Hey, it's serving. How's it going, man? So then we do an ls-l, and we do this, and we're going to go search for that file wherever it is, and we're going to look for it in .config /links. But I want to show you that, as you can see, it's a symbolic link. That's what the L means over here. That's pointing from here to here, and it contains the file. So every time I type the links, and then I added that to my path, as I already told you. So my links is in my .file scripts, which is ahead of everything else in my path, and therefore it's the one that runs. What does Lynx do exactly? Well, let's talk about that. So if you were late to the video, the Lynx actually is the text-based browser that is behind the question mark, which I'm now going to tell you how to set up, which is relatively easy once you have Lynx installed. So the Lynx, as I mentioned before, is the text-based browser. It's the first one ever, and I still maintain that it's the best. We can talk about it versus others later, but it allows you to do things like this. So I can go to RWXGG. This is the RWXGG website, which you can go read right now. And as you can see, the very important reason to use ordered lists for your menu items and stuff, right? So I can go to all the booths and go read those. So this is my RWXGG website, our community site. It is, and the product of many people's input, so not my site. If you want my site, by the way, I can't go there right now because it's not suitable for work. That's where I put all my ranting, and don't hold back on the swear words. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You'll have to find it for yourself. So anyway, RWX is an open knowledge base. So as you can see, Lynx is a text-based web browser, which enables you to do wicked fast, browsing. And it becomes, Lynx by itself is valuable, but the place where it really just goes over 9,000 valuable is for searching. So then you can do stuff like this: renders websites into text in a shell. Yes, but check this. It's not just rendering it in the shell, it's making it into a terminal UI. So, but here's where it really becomes valuable. So let me say, like, what is Lynx? And I enter a search, and now I get my answer right away on Wikipedia. Let's say, why would I want to text-based browse? Why would I want text browsers for the web? And the question mark is the key here. We're going to talk about the question mark now. So as you can see, it goes to Lynx, it does a search, and I get reviews. I can follow the redirects, and I can read really quickly through all of it, and then I can just quit it out. Who is what is it? Zawadzki? Whatever. Who is Richard Stallman? All right, let's look at that one. There we go. There's Richard Stallman. Let's see. Why is Richard Stallman controversial? Okay, Richard Stallman leaves MIT after controversial remarks. Search engine. Yeah, I'm going to talk. You can search. Yeah, you can pick your own search engine and everything. That is not something that Lynx does, and I want to show you what's going on there. Okay, so the rest of this video is going to be how to use the now installed Lynx to do your command line searching. So it actually boils down to setting two aliases. One of the greatest things I love about just command line bash and Z shell, even any Unix shell, frankly, is the ability to make aliases that are actual things that have other meaning to the shell. For example, as you can see, my question mark is an alias, and I set up another alias. And if you don't know how to set up an alias, you just do this alias, and then you would have like question mark equals, and then duck. Okay, so that's how that's set up. I can show you where those are set up actually in my bash RC right now. So let's go down and find duck. So here's the aliases. So there's the two aliases set for DuckDuckGo. and for Duck, and I do definitely have a Google one. Sometimes I bail. And actually, I've thought about adding a triple question mark one for like Reddit or something. I don't know, but you could do that, right? So then I can say, so like that question I did with Richard Stallman, I can actually do it on Google just by changing the number of question marks. By the way, do you see how crappy Google's results are? Google sucks, man. I cannot tell you how much I think Google sucks at this point. I mean, it's just so bad. It's, you know, it's like, look at these search results. Look how ugly they are. You saw how pretty the same search results were in DuckDuckGo, right? Look at, here's DuckDuckGo search results. What would you rather read? Right? I mean, Google's just so clueless. The duck is duckduckgo.com. Yeah, I'm going to show you that now. Okay. So the next thing you need to add to your scripts directory, and I'm going to give you a copy of this, is I'm going to open it up now. VIC, by the way, is just my way of VIing a file anywhere it lives. And let me show you what that says. So VIC, type VIC. So VIC is just a function. If you guys want a copy of that, I can pipe that to Eeks so you can see how to set that up. So anyway, so VIC duck. So what is duck? So duck is a shell script that does one thing. It opens up Lynx and goes to the DuckDuckGo site, activates their light mode, and then sends the query string. And it sends every one of the arguments as and you have to be careful because yes, most things will be y. So you got to be careful because if I do y isn't, right? Can't do that. Why? Because the shell escaping, so it has to be in quotes. But a lot of queries don't even need quotes, which makes you super fast. You can type quotes so quickly. So this is one of the most common ones I do. So like Golang date format or something. And it gives me, oh, there's the time function for a package. This is actually faster than the documentation. I can look up package API documentation faster than I can look it up using the man page or built-in documentation for the tool. Did you see how fast I just looked up the date time format and Go? So that's what I'm trying to take. And then I just use it, reopen it again. So I'm like, I'm coding something else and Go. I need to look up, or Rust or anything. I mean, if I haven't done it for Rust very much, but I can find like Golang peg parsers. Let's see about that. Golang peg parsers. Oh, Pointland peg. Look at that. In a few seconds, I have a hit on GitHub, and there's all the resources I can go through and read about that. I don't know what Google's doing, man. I don't know. So do you guys, here's Eeks, by the way. If you don't have Eeks, you can have Eeks. There's your own copy of it. So, you know, terminal all the things, and let's do the other one. So the Google one is not much as you would expect. So Google, blah, 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 search query, because there's no light mode. Now, if I didn't want to type question mark, I can type any of those same things with duck. I could do duck, whatever. I mean, if I really wanted, right? Or I can do Google, and I can find that, right? I just happen to alias the question mark because the question mark's already there. I'm already typing it, and it just makes it nice and pretty, and people on the stream even understand what's going on. So that has been kind of a complete explanation of how I'm doing command line searching and why you would, and how it's all based on the Lynx text-based browser, which is the oldest browser in history and still the best. It's still, I know I sound like an old boomer saying so. I'm not a boomer, first of all, to your shy, but I cannot tell you how effective this is once you learn it. And I've had people challenge me. They said they're just as effective in an open text-based web browser, but there's something you still can't do with that, people. Watch this. All right. So watch what happens if you integrate text-based browsing into your API lookups and stuff, and you're doing coding. Let me show you what's possible. So let's say you find an example. You're doing some foo.go and you have package main here and you want to learn the date format. Okay. So now I'm like, I don't know, package main. Well, let's see, package main. Actually, if I open that, that should nope, doesn't. Okay, so func main. I mean, you guys know how this works, right? So I don't want to teach you Go right now, but so import. I don't even need that. So a lot of people don't know this, but you can print without using import FMT. Yeah, print's a keyword. Do you know about lowercase println and Go? It's a thing. Hello world. All right, so Go run. All right, so hello world. So So here we go. We're going to go ahead and do this. But let's say I wanted to learn date time format or something like that, right? So in another window over here, again, this is a separate window. I'm going to do my search for Golang. I mean, let's just be simple. FMT. We don't know FMT, so let's go look it up. And that time I didn't even have to look it up. It says, ooh, look at all these things. I could go look for the examples. Let's find an example of it, of some things. There we go. So FMT here. Right now I can use my mouse. You saw me use my mouse, but let's pretend I didn't even have my mouse. I can use tmux. So this is me using tmux, and I'm going to select all this code, and I'm going to press enter, and now I'm going to change the window back here. And I'm going to push enter, insert mode in VI, and then I'm going to do the sequence to paste, and now I have my FMT. So that was just a stupid little thing that I did, right? And you know, you can say like I equals, I don't know, world, right? And let's see what happens here. Does that work? Oh, yep, there we go. Hello world, whatever. My point is that I was able to integrate from this text-based search into another window using tmux copy and paste. When people tell me about pains in Vim and i3 and all this stuff, I'm like, you have not discovered the most efficient way to copy between terminals. And this is, while this is possible by doing text-based searching for web browsers, you watch, I challenge you, watch the rest of the people in science and tech. Watch them all. Watch how they copy and paste things back and forth. Watch how much energy they expend going into their graphics browser, doing the searching, finding the right example, copying and pasting it, going back to their terminal, finding the right spot, going into insert mode and pasting it, or even in VS Code, just dragging it over into it. It's excruciatingly painful to watch. I mean, if you know how to operate between windows and you can do copy and paste mode, you're gonna not want to go back. I mean, I could have copied this entire section right here, just by hitting space and going down. I say I want the whole page. Enter. Okay. Let's just say I want temp foo and put this in here. All right. Let's put this in here. I go set no list, no paste. Set paste mode, and then I do insert, and then I do this Control A, boom, and now I got the whole thing from the other page. Now, if I had tried to copy and paste that with the mouse, it might not have been as consistent. My point is, that's what can I select text without using tmux? Yes, you absolutely can. I'm just trying to show you that I selected text with tmux. If I wanted to select text using over here, you could I can pick these 3 lines using the mouse now, right? I'm using the mouse. And then over here, I can just middle click. And sometimes I will do that, but I'm trying to make the point is you don't need to do that. And yeah, so you can do both of them. And I'll tell you the truth. There's a lot of times when, because, you know, triple clicking on a line, people don't know this, right? You know, on any line and pretty much any operating system or application, if you triple click that line, it selects the whole line. People don't know this. Do you know that if you middle click with your mouse, that it pastes into that line just automatically? You don't even have to do Control V and all that shit. In fact, Apple, Tesla, I blame him for forcing the humanity to use 2 hands to cut and paste, because Engelbart, the guy who made the original mouse, had mouse to do cutting and pasting with 1 hand, and he didn't have to do it, and it took Tesla to fuck it up. So, you know, rest in peace, dude. You did a lot of good things, but not that. You like screwed up the world with Control X, Control V. Control C, by the way, was already taken for interrupts because your brain dead head, Mr. Apple, couldn't decide to use something different. So you said, oh, fuck the Control C interrupt, and you ruined the world. I'm sorry. I was a little rough. Okay. So this is why you might want to use the terminal, and you want to learn how to use tmux and Lynx and all of that jazz. Yeah, to use Twitch, which expand your path for that matter, find stuff besides executables. I don't. I used to. It doesn't. It only finds executables. And that's important. If it doesn't have the executable set, it won't find it. All right. Do we have any other specific questions related to Lynx and setting up searching with it? At the end of this video, you should be able to go get all the files and set up your own Lynx session. You're going to have to retrain your hands. Your hands are not going to know how to do it. And frankly, if you haven't already adopted a Vim workflow, it's going to be very foreign. I wouldn't recommend it to Emacs users, actually. Well, let me put it this way. If you want to keep your Emacs, that's fine. But what I would suggest then is, make sure you're using Emacs mode on your history and in your shell, which is a separate video and stuff. And then also use Emacs mode in Lynx. Lynx has 2 modes, Emacs mode and Vim mode. And so you can pick Emacs mode if you really want to stick with it. All right, so, and that's one way you can go about doing that. A couple of people did ask questions about whether I think W3m. So what is W3m? Let's go look at that. W3m is free software source, text-based browser and terminal. It supports for tables, frames, SSL connections, color and inline images on suitable terminals. So 3 of those things are things that are reasons I don't choose it. So for example, tables. Lynx supports tables, but not in the way that this does. That a little bit gets in your eyes. I don't want to see a bunch of disturbing stuff. I want to see just text. SSL connections, Lynx also supports that. Color and inline images on suitable terminals. This is really, really weird, but W3m will actually attempt to download and render images. And that is the last thing I want in a text-based browser. One of the fastest reasons you would use Lynx in the first place is because you just want text. Most web pages have hundreds, well, dozens, let's say, dozens of links of things they have to pull down. Pictures, JavaScript, like 20 CSS files because they didn't put it into one because they used some stupid build process. The average web page has so many extraneous, unnecessary pieces of crap in it that you don't want to buy, you don't want to download any of that. And everybody knows download speeds are the number of downloads is the single biggest delay when you're doing downloading. That's why it's like time to first hit is such a big deal. And when you're using a text-based browser, you forget all that. You grab the HTML page, done, the end. You just get one resource for that web page that has a dozen on there. You're only requesting one HTML page. And let me just tell you that, yeah, and the fonts, but my fonts, right, all that extra stuff, you don't need it. You just want the text. Now, I'm not saying, do I use a text-based browser? Hell yeah. So, for example, if I want to use a text-based browser, this is important. I saw this because this is important. Let's say I wanted to actually go through and I go see the Wikipedia page, which I wouldn't. But if I did, this is a redirect, by the way. That's why it's showing a refresh, which is actually very nice. I really like it when they have redirects because I can look at the redirect, come over here with my mouse, click on the URL, and boom, I've got the graphics right there. I am not against graphics on a web browser. In fact, for many things, it's very important. But I can do all of my wicked fast searching from the terminal, and then when it comes time to have a graphic thing, I push I, I've got the URL, I follow the URL with my link with one click, and boom, there's the whole page. So even if I think I'm going to need something, I can actually do a search. So let's do that. So like John Gruber. All right. So John Gruber, creator of Markdown. We talked about him before. I want to see a picture of John. Okay. So if I do a search for John Gruber, I go in here, Daring Fireball. Well, I know Daring Fireball doesn't have any pictures of him because he's kind of a recluse. But I do believe Wikipedia has one. So let's go see. And Aaron Schwartz is another big fan of mine. So let's see if there's any pictures on this page. I don't know. Let's go have a peek. It might be some graphics that I'm missing. I push I, and now there's the link. I click on it. The I gives me all the information about the page, and there is the Markdown link, which it looks like John removed. Maybe not. Let's go pick it up. There he is. So John Gruber. So John. Now I could have gotten to that page without that extra click, probably by following the link to John. Oh, let's do Aaron. So let's go to Aaron. The internet's own boy. You should watch the documentary In Memory of Aaron. He's my favorite deceased technologist. Invented the RSS, part of the Creative Commons team at 15. Just an amazing soul. And he died. The government killed him. That is not an exaggeration. Watch the documentary, please. So much of the things that I do are in memory of Aaron because his focus on everything. So anyway, let's say I wanted to go look at Aaron's page. I will click on that, and that's going to pull him up, and hopefully he'll be there. Yep, there he is. And so my point is, I'm not saying graphics are bad. Am I saying that documents that have to have JavaScript and don't render as web pages are bad? Hell yeah! Let me tell you one. So here's one. Lynx render, what is it called? I can't even remember. All right, look away. Look away, people. There's going to be a swear word here. Please don't. Please don't. Look away. All right, I want to show you a page that sucks. This is a whole page of, oh, look, emojis work in Lynx. So this is a whole page of absolute crap that shouldn't exist. The best one of all, though, is where is it? Pre-render IO. So this is a company who's trying to sell you a service that allows you to be viewable even though you use JavaScript for your page. Notice a problem. You notice anything? Where's the page? It's a big black piece of crap. That's why. Because pre-render IO is full of morons who decided to make a web page that requires JavaScript entirely to view. They've thwarted every web standard that's ever existed for the sake of what? For the sake of what? You know, locking knowledge away behind JavaScript applications that can't render as text. If you don't take one thing away from this, this isn't just me who can't see it with a Lynx-based browser. This is anybody who has a visual impairment. Thank God Pizza Hut lost the court case for this kind of shit. And I'm not going to devolve into a rant about how the JSX community and the JS community are destroying the World Wide Web by locking knowledge behind JavaScript rendering rather than using basic standards and following their own hype. Progressive enhancement. You start with a web browser that doesn't have JavaScript and then move up. You don't add and assume somebody has JavaScript. You fucking morons. Okay. And on that note, I have to have that rant right now, because if I don't have that rant, somebody will think that the world can go forward like that, and they will try to think that our world is going to be fine without text-based browsers, because that's just for old people. Wrong. All right, this is fun. I'm going to leave the swear word in there. I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you about the pizza thing. Lots of things for you to go to research on your own or come talk to me later. I'm going to go ahead and mark this and end it. I have to get ready for actual, work where I teach people. So let's just go. Let's go ahead and move forward. I'm going to go ahead and mark this. Thank you so much for coming by and sticking up with my rants and my all of my failures, as well as hopefully some help I can give you in terms of being more efficient and building a web where knowledge is king, where all of us can share our knowledge in whatever way possible, in whatever way and situation we are in. And that includes turning stuff up. All right. Take care, guys. I'm going to talk to you later, but I'm going to go ahead and stop the stream for today. And we'll see you then. So, we'll talk later. Bye. Bye, Argentina.